Hello everybody, Demon Red Mist here. I thought I'd get on early this time for a test for Dynamic GT League's Race 4. So yeah, I thought I'd do my test video. I mean, obviously we only raced last night for Race 3, so I thought I'd do my test video today because then it gives more people a chance to watch it and pick up from it, and it also means I've got a bit more track knowledge. One thing I will say is, I know on the videos and the posts that DGT have done, it's the track is Lake Maggiore Centre. However, I have just come on, and having driven the track, and I've spoke to the DGT admins, I'm waiting for a reply from them. I'm pretty sure it's meant to be Maggiore Centre 2. Which basically it's the same as Maggiore Centre, just in the opposite direction. It's a much better flow to the track, which is why that one was suggested. So the video I'm going to do now is going to be for Centre 2. If it turns out that they're going to go with Centre, and to be honest, I think when they've driven it they won't, but if they do go with Centre, I'll do a quick video for that, because the track is very different in the opposite direction. The flow of the circuit this way is so much better. Okay, gonna load up and go to track. Now I have literally just done a couple of laps. I've not done anything to the setup other than shortened my gears. Now I will show my setup, because interestingly, with the GT update that came out Wednesday night, Thursday morning, one of the things that they said they'd updated was some of the driving physics. Now, I know when I was practicing just before the race yesterday, I seemed to be getting a lot more understeer than I had been when I was practicing prior. And it took a while, and also because Dave the Art was pissing about with his cambers, it made me think, yeah, maybe reducing my front camber would be a good idea, and I'll see what it's like. So literally that's what I did. So this setup at the moment is exactly the same as what I ran at Fuji last night, except for the front camber angle has been reduced to 2.0 from 3.0. It was kind of a last minute change, and to be honest, I think that was the key to me getting pole position and the win. Now the gears, I've just bumped it down to 155 on the max auto set. I've not done anything else with it, so I haven't maximised or perfected the gears for the corners, but to be honest, there ain't that many corners around this track. It's a brilliant little racetrack. Now looking at the track map as we are here, by the way, I'm also going to do this video the same as I did the last sort of test video, where I'm going to go corner to corner and telling you what I've just found out basically. Okay, so looking at the track map, we're actually going to go from the start finish line down towards the bottom of the track map. So turn 1 is an uphill braking zone, makes it easier for braking, but also there's a brilliant feature to that corner that should help everybody. And then we've got a downhill section into a flat out left, right, and then into an uphill braking zone again, left hand corner, which is a bit off camber. It's a little bit tricky, but hopefully I'll be able to show you a decent way to take it. But that off camber left hander then feeds into the last two corners at a decent speed, really, allowing the last two corners to become decent overtaking possibilities. When the track's the other direction and you'd be heading towards a 90-degree left and a hairpin right at turn 1, it's not as good a track, because basically you've got a very high speed section into a very tricky braking zone, and personally I think that'll just end up in lots of carnage and crashes. The way this layout is, I think it's a lot better. But anyway, we'll go and have a look at it corner by corner, although there is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to show what I think about the track, and then I may do a few laps and tweak about with my setup. Now if you can't hear me, I do apologise, but I'm going to slow down anyway. Okay, let's just spin around a bit. Now for any of the DGT guys that are that have done a bit of practice already around this track in the opposite direction, don't panic. you'll just realise how much better it is this way round. Okay, so approaching turn 1, it's a left-hand corner, it's uphill, and there's a bit of a curve to the braking zone. However, you want to approach this corner on the right-hand side of the track, and I mentioned about there being a brilliant feature to this corner, and I'm going to show you what it is. It's this white line that's right in front of you. Basically, you should be, if you haven't got anyone around you, well, even if you have got somebody behind you, really, you want to be approaching this corner in about this sort of position. And at that white line, you hit the brakes. It's kind of a last point of braking, really. So that white line is your brake marker, effectively. Now, if you are attempting to overtake somebody, or you are up the inside of somebody, the brilliant part of this white line is it's still your braking point. Now, I have approached this corner absolutely flat out, braked at this white line and comfortably made the corner. So use this white line as your braking point, but remember folks, if you have got one car in front of you, you have to brake a bit earlier, and if you've got two in front of you, bit earlier, and so on and so on. One thing I will say is going side by side with cars only loses time. Whereas if you follow people through corners and work out where you can gain, that's where the speed comes from. So anyway, so yeah, brake at this white line for turn 1 and try and stay over to the right hand side as long as you can. Trying to brake in a straight line without turning the wheels too soon. A bit like one of the, well, a bit like the last video where I mentioned about turning points. I can't say I've actually checked this, but I'm gonna say right now around about the end of the curb for a turn-in point. Now the idea here is to take as wide an entry as possible so that you can go around this corner at the highest speed possible, really clipping the apex, and then on the exit letting the car run out as wide as you dare. So it's not the most difficult corner in the world, but if you go in too hot, it will be. It's definitely going to be a potential overtaking place. But how you go around that corner will dictate how quick you go down this bit of the track. And this part of the track is brilliant, to be honest. It's going to be interesting with a few cars around. Now, approach it from the right-hand side of the track, preferably, and it is absolutely flat out. You do not need to lift at all through these corners. I will try driving on the dirty side of the track, see if it's still flat out, but we'll see what happens. Now this corner, if you don't have anybody next to you, I would say you should be looking at either positioning your car here, right up next to the orange sausage curb, or potentially straddling it. Now it could get a bit risky, because if you hit your front right tyre on the leading edge of that sausage curb, you could end up on two wheels, because it will flick you up. So absolutely flat out again though. And then we're heading up to a very interesting part of the track. Now this white line isn't your braking zone. Now the couple of laps that I've done so far want to approach on the right hand side, but the curb that's on the left of the screen now, I noticed that when I was braking, that was just about to go out of the screen, or just gone out of the screen, so around about here. Now if we just look at this point, there isn't really anything specific to go right brake there, and you could say, well, there is those 5 big red arrows, but trust me, when you're doing 140 mile an hour, you ain't looking at them. So I am doing it sort of peripheral vision. I haven't tried braking much later. I will try, but I think braking at the start of the curb over here, I think that will be too late, because a little bit like at Fuji, braking earlier, lighter allows for a higher mid-corner speed than braking later and harder. Now at the moment I've been taking this corner in about 4th gear, and really clipping the apex late-ish, to be honest. I'm trying to clip the apex somewhere around about the end of the sausage curb, not before. And the reason for that is, if you are, oh, excuse me, I'm trying to get the car in position. If you are apexing the corner here, you're going to run wide on the exit of the corner, or potentially run wide. Whereas if you come in from a slightly wider position and you're apexing here, it opens up the exit of the corner, and that means you can then use all of the road all the way over to the right hand side, and then we're into a heavy-ish braking zone. But what I would say is, around about the time that that big orange block on the left hand side is about to go out the screen, is around about the braking point. This corner is going to be a second, third gear corner, unless you take your gears really short. It might be fourth gear, but I don't think that'll be the best way. And again, with this corner, try and apex this corner later, around about here. Same reason as the previous corner. If you apex it too soon, you'll run wide, and then you make the next corner really tight. The aim here will be to apex as late as you can, and then not get all the way over to the right hand side of the track. I mean, I'm not going to be this close to the left, but the idea would be to try and position your car somewhere around about here to be able to take this right-hander as fast as possible. So if you're running wide through the left-hand corner we've just done, you're not going to be able to get your car over to this position. This corner, although it's a 90-degree corner, in this direction it's a very quick corner. So don't be afraid of doing that little bit of braking nice and early, or just holding your speed to really power through this corner and use all of the track available. So you should be exiting the track just under the Magyar sign. And one thing that hopefully I'll be able to show when I do a couple of laps here is just how much of the track I am using. So I am all the way over to the edge of the track on entry to a corner and on exit of a corner. Right, let's go and do a couple of laps. Cold front tyres, and that's why I've just ran a little bit wide, so need a minute just to warm those fronts up. So, okay, braking at the start of that curve on the right, you can make the corner, but the minimum speed will be lower, and I'll show you that. Okay, so tyres warmed up a little bit more now, so over to the right hand side of the track, brake at the white line and brake hard. Tyres still not quite warmed up enough yet. Coming out of the corner by the edge of the track. Now, even though this bit's flat out, I'm still all the way over to the right before I turn in. It makes the turn angle much less. Try and straddle the curb a bit. Apex too soon. Okay, hopefully my tyres are warmed up a bit more now. Okay, so I'm going to brake a little bit before the white line this time. Nice apex, nice exit. So braking just before the white line there. So the white line should work as a sign of you should be on the brakes. Brake at the edge of the curb on the left. Don't have to brake a lot. Try and apex later, better. Out to the right, brake at the orange block on the left hand side wall. Patient around this corner to try and open up this right hander and exit under the Magyar sign. So yeah, I was right about the end of the curb on the right hand side for turn 1 as your turn in point. bend of the curb on the left, brake. Not full brakes, don't need to. Apex too soon. Right, I'm just going to drive on the dirty side of the track for some of the corners, so braking at the white line. So you see you can easily make this corner. So if you're going to go for a move up the inside, you want to be braking around about that white line, because if you don't, you're not going to make the corner. Right, let's see if it's flat out on the inside line here. Yep, still flat out, but if you're side by side, you're going to have to leave room, and you've got to be careful of that. So you're probably going to need to lift off once you're through the left-hander. If you're up the inside here, this corner's going to become really, really tight. And if you're side by side, you're going to have to give space on the final corner. Right, let's try that again on the dirty side of the track. Right, so this time I'm going to throw a little lift in here at some point. Not a big lift, just enough to keep me controlled through the second part. Because I'm on the inside here, got to slow down more. Okay, right, back to the racing line. Oh, pushed it a bit too hard. The flow of this track is just so much better in this direction, so hopefully the admins will remember. That's grass, that's grass. Now while I am driving here, obviously I haven't set the car up specifically for this track, so I am kind of pushing the limits a little bit of the car or the corners, but I'm still working on the processes of the braking points that I've mentioned. But also, as the tyres begin to wear now, I'm looking at, okay, how do I need to adjust as the tyres begin to wear? Can I still be flat out down here? How much earlier might I need to brake? I am enjoying this little track. But you'll notice I've mentioned about using all of the road. I am trying to do that as much as possible. It makes the corners so much easier. Tyres struggling a little more now. once again. Absolutely tortured the tyres there, keeping it on the road. This is going to make for a very interesting race, that's for sure, this track. Yeah, grips going on the front end now. I'm going to keep going though, I mean I'm still lapping in the 46s. Just. Now, some of you may notice that, I mean, the amount of times I've sort of said to people, don't touch the throttle till you know, you don't have to come off it again. You may notice on the odd occasion I am giving a little blip of the throttle in a couple of corners. But that tends to be because the advice that I'm giving to people is the advice that they need. The next step would be doing what I do on occasion. So for example, coming up to turn 1, because the tyres are wearing a little bit, and maybe braking half a metre sooner, so my speed's a tiny little lower, I give it a tiny little blip of throttle, not for speed, it's for revs. So I'm actually still on the brakes when I'm dabbing the throttle there, because it's all about the revs for the corner. Tyres really struggling now. So this showing as these tyres wear, braking points are going to be affected. And the front right tyre's taking an absolute beating, which is to be expected around this track. So I'm still, as the tyres have worn, I'm still sort of focusing on the same sort of braking points, but I am braking a tiny bit earlier, and in the odd corner I'm aware I've got to go down an extra gear, otherwise the car's not going to get around the corner. Yeah, so this corner now, it's definitely a third gear corner as the tyre's worn. And what I'm going to try and do now, because that front right tyre is pretty much absolutely dead, for this next lap I'm going to drive on the dirty side of the track. We saw what it was like with decent tyres on the dirty side of the track, so let's have a look at what it's going to be like with knackered tyres. Sneaky little use of the handbrake there just to get the car facing the right way. Right, I'm going to brake at the white line. And now on the better condition tyres, it was comfortable to brake up the white line on the dirty part of the track here. And now I can still make it. If I was braking later, I ain't making that. This is not going to be easy. I might get this flat out, but I could be all the way over to the right. Yep, all the way over to the right. Nothing I could do about that flat out. So as your tyres are wearing, if you are on that inside line, you're going to have to be aware, you're going to have to slow down before the left-hander. Right, okay, we'll give it one more lap on these tyres because I've never taken them down to completely red. Okay, so this time I'm going to give it a lift before the corner. It's not a massive lift, just a little one, just enough. So there we go. I really like this track. I really, really do. So hopefully the admins will have seen my message by now and checked it out. Because I am pretty sure that it is meant to be Centre 2. Mainly because I picked it. I drove it and I was like, hey guys, check this out. So yeah, it is a brilliant track. Now the thing is, when you're driving it the other way, the flat out left-right bit, that's all right. But the rest of the track is actually a bit of a bitch. It's not enjoyable to drive, whereas Centre 2, I just love it. I just find it is so enjoyable to drive. And I think the final sector will be more inducive of overtaking than if the track was the other way round. Right, what I'm going to do now is, just out of interest, obviously it's a very short lap around here, and that tyre wear was not bad, which means this may be an anomaly for the season, where the Super Soft may be the best tyre for this track. I mean, the thing is, I just did, what, I don't know, 19 laps. I wasn't really looking at how many laps I did, but I know I did a lot. I don't think the Super Softs are going to get anywhere near that amount, but if it could do half the amount at a second faster, it might be worth doing. It'll be interesting to find out. So that's what I'm going to do in a second once I've had a sip of my coffee and a chuff of my e-cig. I will take this moment actually to mention to check out the Dynamic GT League YouTube channel. If you're interested in getting involved in a GT Sport League, feel free to check out the YouTube channel and check out their Facebook page. And for anyone that wonders, no, I'm not one of their admins. I'm just a driver that helps out a bit. But no, I'm not an admin, Nick. Honestly, I'm not an admin. By the way, if Drew's listening to this, which he probably will at some point, considering that your name is not Drew, I think you need to give yourself a new PSN name. The only problem is, if you do that, you'd have to start again on GT Sport. But I think you should change your PSN name to Ninar. Now, you might not get that, being American, but all the Brits in the DGT League will get that. You can have it Ninar Nick. And we'll know if he watches this, because you'll have to put a message in the chat saying, what the hell is Ninar? And then you'll find out. Okay. Right, so super soft tyre then. I mean, I did a 46.0 on the soft tyre. Setup's not optimised. But I do know the super soft tyre has not really been usable on this car for the racers so far in this championship. They just die way too quick. Stayed on the brakes a little too long then. I didn't actually think it was going to slow down in time. Able to hold a much tighter line around that corner then. Should be up by 2 tenths. One and a half, not bad. Because of the tighter line on the left-hander, I'm able to attack the right-hander much more because I'm opening it up. Lost a bit of time in that sector though. Tried it third gear, didn't quite get it right. But hopefully you'll notice as well that even though I'm on the softer compound tyre, I'm not trying to brake later. I'm braking at the same points. I'm just carrying more speed through the corners, or trying to. Get on the throttle a little bit later. Don't hit the wall. Don't think it's up though. No, I didn't think so. It felt slow. New pads, please. Right. Not as much time gain as I thought, but I was trying a few different gears in the corners. That's better. Not a lot better, but it was better. Oh, tried turning in later for that corner. It was too late and just drifted out wide. Hopefully as well you've been able to see in that penultimate corner that by apexing the curb late towards the end of the curb is giving me a much better line towards the final corner. That front right's starting to hurt now. So getting into the pit lane's going to be interesting around this track. Tried pushing a bit more between the corners there. Car didn't really like it. Too wide. Okay, that front right really is starting to struggle a bit. So, for the super soft tyre, I'd say it's about half a second quicker than the soft compound tyre, but I think I'm at a point now where the time is just going to keep dropping off. But what, lap 9, the soft tyre, it wasn't until about lap 12, 13 I think when it started to really lose a bit of time. Be an interesting race for strategy, that's for sure. But hopefully you'll have noticed that in all of the laps I've done here, I've not over pushed any of the braking zones, and by doing that I haven't gone off. I've not had a big crash, wait for it, because of braking way too late. Tyres are struggling. So 47.1 or 46.7. Right, one more lap. Yeah, so 10 laps I think maybe around about the limit at the moment on the super soft tyre. I mean, the thing is though, what I'm trying to think, actually I might have to look back at the live stream on this myself to compare the lap times. So I know I did a 46.0, excuse me, on the soft compound tyre, but then I'm pretty sure that I was 46.2s, 3s, 4s for quite a while, and that's the key point of going, right, okay, what's better, the soft or the super soft? The super soft may be faster for 2 laps, but if for the next 10 it's slower than the soft tyre, it ain't worth using. But anyway, right, hopefully though guys, this video has shown a few little tricks about this track. I mean, they're the first laps I've done since me, Stephen Ray, did 3 laps around here as a test, way before the season started. But what I've shown you there, it gives you easy braking markers. What I would say though is, when it comes to racing around this track, it ain't going to be better to be side by side. Obviously, if you have an opportunity to overtake, that's one thing. But if you've got a couple of cars side by side in front of you, taking it 3 wide into the last couple of corners may not be the wisest thing to do. If they're side by side, they're going to be slow. If you take the right line, you can be faster, and then you can just overtake them on the next straight. Okay, right, I am going to bring this stream to an end. So there's the DGT test for this track from myself, so hopefully this will be quite helpful to a few people. Anyway, have a good one folks, enjoy your weekend and don't drink too much, or you'll end up like James in the bar on Red Dead Redemption 2. Yeah, passed out on the floor, hog-tied by a stranger. Right, have a good one, and I'll see you all again soon.